A lot. We had the Government of India perspective, we had industry perspective, other Government of India speakers are here also. But let's have some Goa perspective also. Can I invite Ms. Revati Majumdar, CEO Goa Electronics Limited, to come and share her vision on Digital India, Digital Goa for Digital India, I would say. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Dignitaries on the dais, fellow colleagues who have traveled from the other states to my state, and my colleagues from Goa and friends. It's indeed a pleasure to be talking about a topic which is quite close to, I think, everybody in the IT domain. That's Digital India. It's definitely one of the most ambitious projects of the Government of India, pet project of our Prime Minister. And there's no second thought that if we all want to see India as the next superpower, as we call it, it's no more about arms and ammunition. It's more about your technology, how you use it, how loaded are your guns technically, and how you accurately aim, focus, and are able to fire the right shots. So, given Digital India, there will be a lot spoken in favor, but I definitely feel that for any project, it is equally important to also realize or give a little bit of understanding about the challenges. So I'll take a bit of an odd step and say that I'll be discussing about the few challenges that I see in the Digital India, which we all need to be looking at to ensure that we make it a success. We all were overwhelmed when we were told that the private sector is looking at investing something to the tune of 4.5 lakh crores into Digital India. That is big money. I mean, just now in the first presentation, when we were told that the total outlay expenditure for these schemes is to the tune of 3.5 lakh crores, it is still lesser than what we expect the private sector to contribute or are expecting to contribute to Digital India. So strongly, if we are thinking that the foundation of Digital India is going to be on this partnership, it gives rise to two major challenges as I see it. I think everybody in the government domain these days has been experiencing this. We have been experiencing it at a smaller level, that whenever we come out with tenders, we are not getting as many participation from the private sector as we should be. This is reducing, and this is getting into a trend kind of a thing. I was really, a couple of days ago, I read a good report come out by NASSCOM. I don't know if Rajiv is here. And I wonder how they come out with such intrinsic information and really good information. It said that the outlay that payable by the Government of India today, or across the states all put together, to the IT sector alone is to the tune of 5,000 crores. So I think we all need to, as a government entity, need to think that we need to make this ecosystem strong enough, this association between the private and the government strong enough, if we expect so much of help and support from the private sector to make not only Digital India in the perspective of smart cities also, because it's all about PPP. And this association needs to be strong between the private and the government. Latest example was GSTN. If we all know, the Goods and Service Tax Network, it's the technology backbone for the most ambitious reforms in indirect taxes in India. In fact, in that case also, they have been constantly trying to come up with RFPs to get the vendors on board. And the latest thing was they came out with an RFP just to say that come up with some organization, come up and give us at least 24 engineers to do the coding in-house. So there, I guess we all as government entities need to be thinking to make this ecosystem more stronger. Second important the second important challenge as I see is the financial feasibility of the project. We are talking about Digital India, where we are talking about connecting the rural India. We are talking about connecting the villages through IT infrastructure, phones, the connectivity through broadband network, building the capacity of the rural India. Financial feasibility of the project for the private vendors is very important. Once again, at the local level, we have tried ourselves to put up CSCs in the past, and they haven't taken off for the very same reason that the financial feasibility wasn't there. So I think this is the second challenge that we all need to look at, that we need to be devising the models in such a way that the project has to be financially feasible and sustainable for the private vendors as well. Another very interesting area I find in Digital India, which I definitely would like to throw light upon, or take, that the Digital India's focus is on building the capacity of the rural India. That's by training and getting the village level guys to a level where they are able to use the technology that the government wants to give them. I think it's most relevant at this time that the government also thinks, that we all also think on this side, that as an institution in itself, the government, when we are talking about a project, an IT project, which is going to be funded to the tune of 4.5 lakh from the private and 1.15 lakh crores from the government itself. So it's like almost 1/4 of our country's budget, national budget. So the capacity of the government in itself, is it built enough to handle a project of such magnitude and such scale? So I guess we have the NIC here, we have the deity, of course, but monitoring and putting in place such a big project, I guess we need a complete team of good industry experts, IT professionals. Horizontal inclusion from the industry is a must in governance to have such a big dream realized. So this is another aspect which I guess we all need to be thinking about, whether at the state level or at the central level when we are executing various projects in the smart city or the Digital India purview. I guess the last concern area that we all should be looking at was privacy and data protection. Everybody, every state, the nation as a whole is collecting immense data today. We jam, as you said rightly, we are going to have the mobile linked to your account, the account linked to your travel details, your digital locker. Given this whole system whereby there'll be a profile of every person online, it would be almost like creating a surveillance infrastructure on the part of the government, which is very good, which is very nice. From the perspective of a citizen, I would also like to just add on here that today our laws which deal with data protection or data privacy are very weak or almost non-existential. So we need to be looking at making these aspects also quite firm so that we come out with good laws and regulations to how we share the data and how we protect the data of the citizen when we take it at such a large scale. So I think we all are on it that we need to get onto the Digital India bus. Only thing is that we need to cater, or we need to look at these particular kind of challenges, deal with them, and definitely it will succeed. That's it. Thank you so much. Thank you.